Welcome, everybody, to another weekly lovely episode of Call Live. I'm your host today, Dylan Camacho. Today with me, I have the most loveliest of lady co-hosts with me, Danielle and Kelsey here. And we've got more waiting just behind the burners. But I want to take a second to sit here and say, firstly, welcome. I know it's been a second since I've been on the YouTube channel, not to make this about me. But, we've got a lot of fun stuff. We've got matches to cover. We've got brackets to discourage everybody to talk about. Everybody kept saying, we need consequences for these brackets. Call to action. What are you going to do? You guys, you let these people make these terrible things, and we'll talk all about it. But the consequences have been given, and now I just own this show now. I got promoted. That's how we handle it. So, it was against everybody on it. Mm-hmm. But without further ado, we've got two awesome guests. I'm so stoked to hang out with them and talk about both of their matches this week. We've got Lon Harris, everybody.
Hey, everybody. I'm here. It's me.
And Adam Witt.
Truer words were never spoken, Lon. You are here.
I'm very excited to be here. I'm not Adam Witt. There we go.
We're gonna get there. You can't trip us up for long.
By the way, I gotta tell you, I hate to commandeer the conversation. I do this literally every show I'm on. By the way, before anybody gets talking, let me talk for 25 minutes. Yeah. But you guys are doing great work here because I miss Lon Harris. I never get to hang out with Lon Harris, and I say yes to whatever show I'm asked to do, and then find out later, like, oh, I get to hang out with Lon, or I get to hang out with Video Drew for an hour or whatever. So anyway, it's kind of fun. You guys have saved the day for Lon and I not being able to hang out at the studios. You know.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
This
is how I socialize. I just do after shows.
I know.
Lon, who did you lived with Video Drew, right?
No, I basically decamped there during quarantine.
Okay, gotcha.
I was going bugaboo in my studio apartment by myself. Right, but no, I never formally lived in the.
Do you guys live close?
In the Schmoedown Flophouse. I'm only about 15 minutes away. I'm just she's in Burbank. I'm in Silver Lake. Okay. It's not really very far.
Right on.
I'm so intrigued. I'm getting all the geographical info I didn't know I wanted out of this episode.
I didn't know either of those facts.
I'll throw you her address. You got a pen?
Yeah.
She'll throw your address.
I would never.
It's like one of the few addresses I do know, but we're not here to flex about that. I know, I was going to say,
we're not here to stalk Video Drew.
Listen, we're not here to stalk her yet.
As much as that would warm her heart.
She would. She'd probably enjoy it, which is a good reason not to do it.
Yeah. She feels us talking about her. Make no mistake. She's like,
she's right now. Like the Drew signal has been lit.
100%.
She just rose from her sleep somewhere and just felt 5 times more powerful. But you guys, we have some awesome matches we got into this week. We had a Star Wars match. We had 2 singles matches, and I think chronological order makes the most sense. Adam Witt, you had a Star Wars match this week.
Don't tell me how any of the matches turned out. Can we do a whole show and I never find that out?
No spoilers throughout this entire episode. So please, everyone.
I don't even know how my match turned out, but from what I see on social media and what people are saying, I guess I won.
That's because you're not allowed to be in the chat room during your own match, as we've all learned.
Not allowed.
Right?
How dare you? Destroy the delicate illusion.
I mean, that makes sense, but if I show up on Patreon 2 days beforehand, they know my match is not live on YouTube, but I guess not everybody.
Well, they also know because they're yelling out the answers in the chat room, so it's not like it hasn't been. I don't complain.
I mean, I never go on and blow anything. That would be stupid.
Of course not. I was in there hanging out, just watching my match with the fans.
Right.
Not really even trying to talk that much, just watching. And then, like later on in that day, there was just this like vague email from Christian, like, by the way, what's wrong with you assholes? I thought it was like community managing.
I thought it was like, hey, let's hang out and watch my match. I'm like, isn't this the reaction show? But,
right. I don't know.
Whatever.
Keep it to the after shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One less thing to do. Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, I know.
Stop helping. Stop being an active participant in this community, you bastard.
You could have just sent an email, but nope. Had to go to Twitter to get everybody.
To engage with the public.
Listen, before we all get canceled, let's go ahead.
Sorry. I forget. I keep doing this thing where I keep trying to make this podcast more infamous rather than actually famous. If we could just
Someone is actively trying to run us into the ground.
You know what? We've done a couple years and a couple awards of being beloved. Let's just go for the Heel of the Year award. That's my goal this year. Me and Chandru are racing towards it as of this moment. But we have a whole Star Wars.
Might not be ready for my truth bombs.
I know. I was about to say, Lon, don't worry, we'll get into all of that later on. If you're here and you've seen the alleged bracket, don't worry, we'll get into it. But that's after Schmoedown talk. Adam Witt, holy shit, dude!
Holy shit!
Oh, what a match, man! What a match! And here's the thing: for anybody who's been following Adam Witt and his Star Wars career, we know that this is to be expected. But it's always one of these big things that it's just like, oh, you love seeing it. It's one of these. I don't know. It's like watching a phoenix die. I don't know. It's beautiful in its nature, but it's tragic.
No, I've kind of now made my reputation as the guy that you love to watch try and win.
I think there's something to say about going in there with the confidence of fan favorite, like letting that be like. Not the shield, because I think that that's definitely the truth of it. You are definitely beloved inside of the Schmoedown. You go in there with the most gusto, and it is absolutely so much fun to watch you compete anytime you compete inside of the Schmoedown. So I think using that, and Dylan had said something earlier before about losing upwards. What was that the right term?
Failing upwards.
And basically having something like that with a character like yours as the Razor, I think is something that's needed inside of the Schmoedown, because you need to have those fun matches sometimes.
Yeah, I think whatever I bring to the match, it maybe gets lost sometime in all the very intense studying and competition and stuff. I mean, This grew out of a bunch of friends who got drunk and did movie trivia together years and years ago. This was bowling at one time. That you can go bowling with your friends and just do it for the drinks, or you can get real serious and wear your bowling glove. People have started wearing their bowling gloves in the Schmoedown, but I like to think of myself as one of the lone people who didn't bring a towel to the bowling alley. I'll use theirs, but I'm just here to have fun and have a few drinks and everything. But I'm glad that reads. I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion that because that's my attitude that everybody that watches. But this last match, I really got the feeling everybody's like, we're here to. This is how we're. The way I enjoy doing a Schmoedown match is the way people enjoy generally watching Schmoedown matches.
Yeah,
so, go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say you're still, with that bowling analogy, you're still knocking strikes out whenever you're playing. It's not that you're losing terribly in any of your matches. You're playing very well. Yeah, you're playing very well in your matches. And that's something to say, especially inside of the Star Wars division. That's a very, very tight division to play in. So to be able to hold your own completely all the way through and still go in with the attitude that you're going in, I think is amazing. Sorry, Lon.
Go ahead, Lon.
I was just going to say, it's funny, over time, I feel like this is always what happens with these kinds of shows, because Movie Fights was the same way, where it started and it was very casual. It was a group of friends hanging out, having silly debates. And then over time, it becomes more competitive and people get more into the stats and who's winning and the records. And it becomes more, inevitably, more like a game that people are putting on their bowling gloves for and taking more seriously. So it's always interesting to see how that balance kind of works out over time, because you're always kind of being pulled in both of those.
Right. I do love the big strides it's made to being a professional sport, and the big, you can sit and play softball, or you can try and hit strikes off of Nolan Ryan, but I appreciate that there's a Nolan Ryan out there, but I also appreciate that there's softball. So I'm glad there's many levels, but it is fascinating to see just how professional and intense that the Schmoedown has gotten. It is a real sport.
Yeah, I think that there's so much to say in what you bring to that, not only that match, but I think just the flavor and energy of it though too, because I feel as though with a lot of the rookie matches that's been, kind of coming through recently, is that we see a lot of the serious ones and they're focused so much on showing how much they know. Adam, to your credit, we've seen how much you know, and it's an impressive amount. And by no pun intended, a very razor-thin margin did you only lose that match.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I appreciate somebody who still keeps me entertained in a match anymore, because I feel like that's something that comes and goes so often with the Schmoedown currently. It's just that oftentimes it's so much just the trivia, and we feel like we're losing that entertainment aspect.
Well, that's the other fun thing too, is that Thomas came to play as a character as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's really fun too, because there are players that are characters, and then there are players that are just kind of, some of the newer people and stuff haven't really kind of developed, figured out that they should be wearing a barbed wire covered pauldron yet.
Right.
But, we all have our journeys. But Harper, came and was a character, and I did that pre-show bit with him and stuff, and I think that all popped off too. So it was a whole experience watching that match.
No, I think if nothing else, Harper definitely showed some great, great chops with some of the kayfabe stuff as well. I think he was a wonderful foil to you in that match.
Yeah, I mean, luckily he showed how hard he is to beat.
Right.
I mean, the coming 2 1-point questions away from tying him and going to overtime. Yeah, I'll take that as a victory in and of itself, because he's tough. He's gonna run this. I hope I meet him in this tournament. It would be a really fun rematch, but he's gonna run the tournament on his side. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But I didn't expect to play Star Wars at all this season. I mean, you see the team I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I watched that, and my hope was, well, I would like to end up back at the dungeon. And then certainly when Dan and Ben came in, I'm like, wow, now the dungeons, I was at the nerds table. Now it's the cool people's table.
Mm-hmm.
But then it came to the draft. The first person they drafted was, one of the first was Molly. And then they drafted another Star Wars person. I was like, okay, they don't need me for Star Wars. They probably don't need me for singles. So I was shocked. So the fact that I played 2 Star Wars matches so far, I mean, that's all right. Awesome. What, I just have to say yes to some of these hard people? Okay.
I possibly get to do an upset during bracket. What's not to love about that?
Yeah.
You can get a single question right in a Star Wars match. You're doing great. One question is like more than almost anyone would be able to do.
Those are such well written matches too. They're so fun.
God.
Star Wars matches.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like IG. There's a reason I don't compete in IG. Harry Potter is not my bag, but I can keep up. I don't usually get embarrassed if I'm playing along in an IG. I may be not doing well enough to beat a Mara or a Chandru, but I'm holding my own. Star Wars, it's it might as well be a quiz about literally particle physics. I have no idea. Immediately.
And yet you love Star Wars, right?
I love Star Wars.
Yeah, right. That's what's so funny about it.
I've seen every Star Wars movie a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
I grew up with it. I feel like I know it a lot better than most people. And by 3 words into every Star Wars question, I am eliminated. On Rigel Plath, and I'm like, that's not a planet.
Yeah, right.
I don't even understand the context of the rest of it.
That's what's so fun about it is I love obscure Star Wars stuff. And when I played Sean, my first match, I didn't do any studying. I watched the movies, obviously. They call that studying as well. But, I didn't really buckle down on, let me make a list of things I do or don't know, stuff like that from other matches. So that was the most, just sort of well, I'm in a bar, let's play some Star Wars trivia and see how I match up, And so I'm pretty good, I know a lot of stuff already. Because it's Star Wars, the reason Star Wars is so unique is that Star Wars itself is full of trivia. So, Star Wars, one of the things we love about Star Wars is, what's that ship? Oh my God, who's that guy? Wait, who are those guys in the background? That's the whole movie, right? Oh my God, who are these guys grabbing R2-D2? Oh, he's on this thing with, who's that other droid? Wait, that looks just like C-3PO. You do that all the way through Star Wars anyway. So that's always been the fun of Star Wars is, noticing all those things and oh, that guy's name's Walrus Man, when they released the action figure. But what's fun about the Star Wars League is it just makes you do that more. So I'm like, well, now I watch Star Wars and I never was like, whoa, what's the name of that creature? I'm like, oh, now let me look it up. That's really, just like it did when I was a kid and got really obsessed with that sort of stuff. So it's the same thing. It's a lot of fun. I'm so happy it exists and can really make me as into Star Wars as I was in 5th grade. I was into Star Wars way too much in 5th grade, and I got made fun of it and all this sort of stuff. It wasn't this sort of thing you could devote yourself to as a whole thing. It was okay, we all went to go see it. We're nerding out about Star Wars. But let's leave it there, and we're going to go to a football game or whatever. I was like, no, more. Hey, I got all the action figures. Hey, does anybody see I got the new whatever? It was too much. But now it's not too much.
Nope.
Right.
Yeah.
It's encouraged now.
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
Right. No, I mean, like
Star-
I've got like these stacks of cards. Like I write this thing down now because these are like my new Star Wars cards because I had all the Star Wars cards too, and I loved looking through my Star Wars cards. And so now I started writing down the facts on these things, and I'm like, oh, I've got Star Wars. You know, I'm now a 40-year-old man who has Star Wars cards again. So that's fun.
The Star Wars division has definitely been interesting to see the growth. Everyone loves the questions that we've seen, so it's going to be very fun to watch 2 tournaments this year. This is going to be so much fun. Adam? Are you looking forward to playing in this tournament? I'm assuming that you're going into the tournament this season, at least one of them.
Yeah, no, I again was shocked because the dungeon does not need me to play Star Wars. I mean, as long as I'm not losing points, but you know, Molly could be in there gaining points. Mm-hmm. So, but for whatever reason, and maybe it was because of my match with Harper that everybody's like, all right, let's get, you know, John Hoy got a victory. You know, Molly is definitely going to be in the next tournament or whatever she wants to do in Star Wars, and of course she's got 100 other shows that she tends to as well. But so I was kind of shocked that I ended up in this one. I'm like, all right. So I mean, hopefully I won't embarrass myself and bring some more good to the name of the dungeon.
Mm-hmm. How is the dungeon politics nowadays? I know you mentioned earlier with Dan and Ben there that it definitely feels like a big shift away from what it was last season. And I know we've lost definitely a handful of characters. So what's the new energy like in the dungeon, if you don't mind me asking?
It's not that different. Because it's still got Kaiser,
sure.
me, Video Drew, who else have we retained? But Parker, you know, so that's like, so the 4 of us there keeps it very dungeon. But the thing is, as I've always said, the dungeon, you know, some kids sit in the front row and, you know, raise their hand in school, and the other kids sit in the back and trade Fangoria magazine. I mean, Dan and Ben are sit in the back of the classroom, and Mara are sit in the back of the classroom and trade Fangoria magazine types. So, I mean, they do fit in just because they have the prestige of being elite players. It's a perfect fit. There's nothing weird about it at all, and it doesn't feel different at all because on any call, you know, there's going to be me or Drew or Kaiser or Parker, you know. In fact, most of the calls have all of those people on it.
Right.
So, yeah, it doesn't feel any different except that I'm on a winning team now. I mean, I was in the dungeon last year and it wasn't a winning team, and now I'm on the dungeon and it's a winning team. I'm not contributing to that, but nobody's sweating that. Because I'm just fun to have around. So there we go.
Fan favorite, Adam Witt.
Mm-hmm. I do what I can. Lon, how you doing?
I'm all right. I think you should go with local favorite Adam Witt. I feel
local.
Isn't it just like, now we're being joined by local favorite Adam Witt. It just you can tell there's a story behind how you became.
I like favorite. That. That's a good one. Local favorite. Local favorite. Internet's local favorite.
Yeah. It's like, I wonder how that guy became the local favorite. I'm gonna strike up a conversation with him later.
You hang around the internet long enough, you become a local favorite.
You become the local favorite. Yeah.
Ooh. Be careful, though. If you stay around long enough, you'll live long enough to see yourself be the villain. Can confirm. But, you know, Lon, it's funny. I asked Adam about, you know, kind of like the I guess, the culture of the factions. And it's interesting that your guys' faction, I mean, you guys retained you and Oyama and Chandra right off the bat. So you had a lot of, you know, the heart and soul characters, as maybe I would describe as, you know, as a Wit or a Video Drew or a Parker. For the dungeon, you guys are very much heart and soul characters of swag. You have so much identity there. You know, I wonder what this season has been like.
Really, the big personnel shift from last season has been Liz Shannon Miller going over to the Suspects. Right. You know, and sort of we brought in Laura to the Star Wars division, and you know, a couple rookies. We got Brad, I see, is in the chat room here. But yeah, the spine of the team is very much the same. Winston has a very specific to Winston sort of management style and coaching style. And so I feel like we just sort of refined what we were already doing last season. Like Oyama and Chandru, you know, it's like I obviously haven't seen them in person in a long time, but I picture them in in like lab coats with those 60s style computers. Like it's always they're running the numbers. They've got a new strategy, like that, right? Like the computers that take up like a whole room.
I absolutely want to design the Wonder Woman computer from the Wonder Woman TV show at some point in my computer room with just Christmas lights.
Yeah, right. Lights everywhere. There's like occasionally like a big lever that you're like, what is that turn? Like, what is that turn?
I want toggle switches that just turn on lights.
Right, and like for some reason, Chandru's got like a beaker with like colored liquid in it, and they're holding it up and looking at it. But yeah, they're definitely in charge of like running the training and very organized, very methodical in that way. And so the rest of us are just kind of following their lead and focused on making it fun and making it a good vibe and a fun group to be part of.
It's got to be interesting to have your brother on your faction now, and your brother back in the league. Shout out to John Harris out there. I'm excited to see that also.
He's out there somewhere. Yeah, I mean he had no idea when I first brought him in. Literally, JTE had fallen off of a bird scooter, could not compete in the tournament moving forward, and so John, I was just like. I know he knows movies, he has a comedy background. I was like, come do this thing with me. He had no idea like what it was. I maybe had shown him one. So he walked in like totally unprepared. So it's been fun to see him this season now that he has his bearings and he gets what it is and he's had some time to figure out what it's all about. And now he gets to kind of come back and try to do it for real instead of just like stepping into the fray and doing it as a goofy one-off. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see him get to be more of like a real presence in the league for a whole season instead of just a fill-in. And
he does great character work. Yeah, he does great character work. Also, I really enjoy watching him on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any kind of actual answer. I'm just the guy in like the back room usually writing jokes. I'm not usually the guy out in front. He's got way more on-camera experience than I do. He was actually in an episode of Cheers years and years ago.
What?
He used to act when he was younger, my brother, like in commercials and TV shows. There's an episode of Cheers with Emma Thompson as Frasier's ex-wife, who's now like a Raffi, like a kid's music singer. And he's like they have a bunch of kids come to Cheers and she performs with them and he's in the crowd there hanging out.
Cool. Was he ever on any commercials?
Yes, he was on a bunch of commercials.
Because the products from the 80s are really fun to hear. I want to hear like a Mad Balls commercial or whatever.
This would have been like early 90s, like 91, 92, 93.
Commercials. Let's do
the biggest one was he was in a McDonald's ad, and I don't remember what. There was some kind of like Happy Meal thing for kids. And the reason that Jonathan was popular in commercials was he was already like 10, 12, but he looked young. So they could cast him as like a 7 or 8 year old, but they could teach him his lines and have him be old enough to like grok it, So he was in like Silo, which was an old appliance store that doesn't exist anymore, and McDonald's and a few other things like that.
Yeah. Nice. I was just thinking it's funny when somebody was in like a Mad Balls ad or something. You're like, oh God, that was only around then.
You remember the Pogo Ball, of course. Well,
Pogo Ball. Oh my God, Pogo Ball. Yeah, exactly. My buddy. I mean, imagine being the kid that carries around my buddy.
It was a thing. It was a thing.
Kelsey, how are we doing on Super Chats this evening?
Yep, we actually did get a Streamlabs from Jeremiah Morris. Says, why did Dylan get a promotion after a PR nightmare? And also, Lon, I'm a big fan of you and Final Exam. Love what you do. And Wit, you are just amazing.
Oh, that's
thank you. Jeremiah is so nice to me.
Yeah, I would add, listen, a PR crisis or a PR opportunity. I said.
Yeah, say what you want about me. You just spell my name right,
It's spread far and wide. I mean, I don't know if it was like good, positive buzz about your guys' brand, but it was certainly a lot of chatter.
Here's how infamous whatever. Now, I want the full story of what happened because I don't know.
Worry, I'll break it down.
But here's how infamous it was. I was on Late Night with Gucci and Kaiser last night. And that came up as a topic, and Kaiser was enraged. It was like, what? What's happened?
Like I said, I was saying this before the show. I believe that it is the most shared piece of Schmoedown content I have ever posted.
Wow.
Nothing else from the Schmoedown community has ever lit my entire following on fire, being incredibly angry at these fast food brackets.
It was pretty intense. Yeah.
Have you guys bracketed everything? Have you guys have you taken every topic and bracketed it? That's because now that you're famous for that, you need to bracket other stuff.
You need to bracket other stuff equally.
No,
I think that's
it's going to be
Come
a
up with a
thing
name
on
for the show
that we were
and
doing.
bracket more.
Oh yeah, no worries. We're trying to now it's the hunt for trying to find more controversial ones. I think Nat said next week we're going to do
races
on organized religion. Who knows? No, we're not doing that.
Bracket the races.
Yeah, exactly.
Fascist dictator Adolf Hitler.
I don't even know how to take it further at that point. But Gary, to answer your question.
Okay, first bracket: white people and Mexicans. We're going to get letters on this.
Listen,
I think we may have created too much controversy.
The bracket topics, I think, should be standard. I think your picks should be controversial.
That's true.
You could do the Disney movie bracket. It's just number one's got to be Black Cauldron versus Oliver and Company. I think that's
no love for the aristocrats, Paul or Lon. Oh boy, yeah. It's wild. I don't want to spoil our dinner though, boys. That's the full entree for later. Matilda. Yeah, we did get the original actress for Matilda to sit there and even.
This is for Matilda.
It's delightful. But how I didn't get reprimanded, Jerry, I kept voting myself up the ladder in C2A. I outranked everybody, so I just gave myself a promotion.
You're wondering how something possibly went wrong. It's the same system that produced the bracket. It's obviously the system is broken.
Don't blame me for exploiting it, but we're not here to talk about that just yet.
I'm just here to say we didn't start the fire. It was always burning.
It's true. Twitter was on fire way before our podcast touched it. So
there it is.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's just a sneak peek. That's a sneak peek. Jake, you hold that.
Wait, just a bit. Yeah,
just a bit. I do want to get into one quick cut scene that had happened at the end of Lon's match, which we'll get to here shortly. There's a whole Khan match and Flickinger match that we'll briefly touch on because obviously we have two competitors from both of their matches. No offense to Khan or Flickergen, but it's right there in the middle. But we had a cutscene on yours, Lon. I don't know if you caught the cutscene, but it had to do with your faction specifically. Jay Washington talking to Chandru. And,
that was a surprise.
High
and
drama.
it was positive disconnect, and now we have a new commissioner, apparently. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Wait, who's the new commissioner?
Jay.
Jay
Nice
Where you been?
Wait. Okay, then I missed that. I saw the Jay revelation in the Chandru.
Yes, that the most recent twist is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is he the commissioner?
Because he's not going to take control of Swag. That's no longer.
Right.
Oh, that was never his plan.
No, he was working with Grace the entire time, and Grace comes out and says, "Thank you for setting all of this up. Congratulations, Commissioner." And
so then Grace just stepped away. It was like
Grace is still president.
Still
now.
president. Okay,
chairman or whatever.
Listen, Adam. Please try to get all of the fake Schmoedown leadership and management positions. Great.
I love it. I'm 100% in.
Yes.
It's a simple hierarchy of invented titles, and all you need to do is commit it to memory.
I love how I've never ever been considered for a cutscene, and I just make my own. Like the cutscene was something that Thomas and I did in my match.
No, I've never been part of an official storyline. Only my own.
Oh, that was fun though. That was a fun little plot twist. I mean, it's like the whole trying to take over Swag, and I wouldn't want to cross Winston. That was fun watching him, spank Chandru. That was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Go cut me a switch. Tan your hide.
Yeah, I think most people really enjoy the Chandru spanking on the whole ordeal, maybe barring Lon or the whole organization of Swag as a whole. But yeah, it seemed like the point was to sit here and make Winston a little bit more sharper, or kind of, I guess, back on his game, so to speak. But
yeah, right.
I wonder where that leaves us. Do we have any wild speculations as Jay as chairman? What kind of things can we expect to see out of something like that?
Well, okay. Obviously, Christian was not into Grace taking over as president. How does he feel about Jay? Has that had any interaction yet?
We haven't seen his reaction.
I don't know.
That's not going to go over well.
Yeah, no, I think the storyline is usually Christian feels that it should be him and is rueful at all these other people stepping all over his fake job. Yeah. Really had his heart set on that fake job.
Can't even get a fake job.
Right.
Now that's bad.
great fake benefits. So,
yeah, well, fake soap opera or not, I did enjoy the Jay revelation because I haven't seen Jay in forever.
Correct. Commissioner.
Jay isn't chairman; he's a new commissioner.
That's what we said. We said commissioner.
Right. I think
we said chairman.
But it was good to see Jay again. I haven't seen Jay in forever.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Archduke of the Schmoedown now?
Oh, who is Archduke?
Who's been named Sergeant at Arms of the Schmoedown.
Oh my God, who could it be?
That's
Who's
what
not
we're going to find out at
Next
the end of the
Knapsack.
season cut
Ken
scene.
Knapsack would be he's the Sergeant at Arms. Of the
Sergeant at Arms.
I feel like. I feel like
Adam, didn't you see the cutscene? You're the Archduke of Schmoedown. Why did you not?
Bum bum bum. In the words of the great composer of that great soap opera, bum bum bum.
Huh? Yeah.
So what is it? Oh no.
God. Calamity.
Tragedy.
Too much jumping around. Kids,
Yeah.
keep it down. Everyone
Yeah.
keep it down. You're knocking stuff over.
Getting
Sorry.
too hype in the house.
Too much
So
fun.
one of my favorite things, like Adam Witt went into his matches with fan favorite being a big banner for it, but I think that it's easy to argue that another fan favorite inside of the Schmoedown is Mr. Lon Harris. Lon,
Yeah,
you and Adam
it's a
are
me
both
favorite.
you both are similar competitors in the way that most of the time, and this is no offense to either one of you, this comes with nothing but love, you are underdogs going into most of your matches.
Sure.
But you all perform extremely well. Any match that you all have played, you all have showed prowess, especially in this last match, Lon Harris against big time Drew McQueenie coming back into the league, like his first match back. That has some high expectations. How did you feel going into that match against Drew?
Yeah, I mean, Drew McQueenie knows his stuff. I used to read Drew's reviews in Ain't It Cool News literally
Totally.
20 years ago. I mean, literally that long ago.
Absolutely
So,
with you.
I feel like I have studied at the feet of this guy. He's my age, but
He's
I feel
the
like
only
I'm
real celebrity in the Schmoedown. I'm
yeah,
like, oh my
like
God,
for
it's
me,
Drew
that was
McQueen.
like Moriarty from Ain't It Cool?
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal to me. And
Oh,
so,
huge.
anytime going up against
That's awesome.
Drew, it's intimidating. I know he really knows his stuff. Also, I mean, his 80s All Over podcast is phenomenal if you
Wow.
guys haven't listened to it. So, if he
Is
gets
that
an
still going?
80s question, no, I believe they wrap that up.
I wonder
But,
if they took it to Patreon or something.
I think a few years ago, I think they wrapped it up. But
Right.
go back, check it out. They went,
Oh, it's the best.
month by month through the 80s and just talk about everything that came
Incredible.
out, basically. It's fantastic. But so like if an 80s question comes up, the guy literally hosted the podcast about it.
Right.
He's going to nail it. So, I always sort of try to go in and not really think about that, not focus on my opponent and how intimidating they are, and just try to get the most that I can get correct. Because as we all know, it's touch and go, not always a sure thing. So
Right.
really just try to focus on myself and not worry about how scary the other guy in the other window is.
Did
Drew
you win?
McQueenie-
I did.
You did?
Spoiler alert.
Oh my God.
Yes. One thing Drew McQueenie said in his post-match interview with Jen was that he went back into the match and he landed on what was it? It was Julia Roberts, I believe.
Romance.
Romance.
He's fun
I'm
romance
sorry.
in round
It was romance, and he went with it and just kind of under the
Regretted it?
assumption that golly, I'm so twisted inside of my words right now. He went into it not really just with a nonchalant attitude about the category, thinking that
That'll
he knows
get you in trouble
about
sometimes
it.
in Schmoedown.
Yeah,
If you
especially because the
recall-
league has changed.
If you recall my match last season against Adam Collins, I wish you wouldn't. It didn't go well, but for the moment, recall it. In round 2, I spun horror, and I feel like this is exactly what happened to Drew, which is I know horror films pretty well. I would
Right.
consider myself a horror fan, but it's
Yeah.
incredibly vast. And
Yeah.
no matter what horror films I'm feeling like in my head, like, oh, I know those pretty well, there's a whole wing of that genre that I'm not even thinking about, that's not even top of mind. So with those kind of broad categories, it's very dangerous because sometimes you're going to get stuff that goes right down the center and it's up your alley. And I'm sure that there are 100 romance movie questions you could have asked Drew that he would know instantly. And it's just like,
But not those.
Nicholas Sparks was a blind spot, it's,
Right.
who knows? And it seemed like when I got horror, like, if you ask me a Rosemary's Baby or an Omen question, I'm going to nail it. But they asked me Amityville Horror, and I haven't seen it in 15 years. So,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happened to McWeenie for sure.
No, and I feel like that's such a curse for McWeenie too. You know, whenever me and Nat, another co-host on the show, we were doing our AAA live show, which is just the more analytic stuff. You can catch a better version after Action Report on Mondays. But so anyway, when we were doing that, I remember we covered McWeenie, and I remember thinking that he can be the stubborn type about it. He has that belief that he's just like, I'm gonna do fairly well in most categories, and I think it's more dangerous to spin away more often than not. But
going back to my original point, he's an old school player. He's I'm just gonna go hang out and play softball with my friends. Yeah. He doesn't own a bowling glove, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he holds to that of like. I mean, obviously, all of us love movies, and when we learn new movie facts, and I can't wait to watch this new movie, you know, Drew McWeenie's that, of course, through and through, but that little extra, like, maybe refresh my memory on some of these things on the wheel and that sort of stuff. He doesn't do that. He's an old school player. He doesn't know.
Yeah, it took me a good 2 full seasons to develop any kind of strategy about this game, because for a long time I was just going with my gut. Every time, like, well, I'll take a guess on this. I think I know it. And once you develop the strategy, you do see that even if it's only good for 1 to 3 points per game being more strategic, well, at this point, that's every match comes down to 1 to 3 points. So,
man, I never thought much about the wheel theory, but when in the dungeon Zoom calls, I think you could write an entire book on the theory of wheel choice based on the conversations of Video Drew and Ben Bateman. Those two are so obsessed with the wheel.
Oh my God.
And depth of, if it's this scenario, but not this scenario, then then I think, but what about this? Yeah, okay. Now I understand what you're saying. Like, this will go on for an hour and it's just about the wheel choice. But, you know, again, I think that's what you just said there is correct. Is like, Ben is like, got to shave 1 point. Why are you going to shave it? Well, here's one way, you know?
Yes. And it's that, and that's Oyama, the guy on Swag, who is just, he like lives in that world, and that's what he thinks about. And also, I've probably talked about this before, Oyama. And the other thing about an Oyama that Bateman also had, there are people with this knowledge. It's not just movie knowledge. It's Schmoedown knowledge. I've seen every match you have competed in, and I remember what questions you get right and wrong. So when I'm coming up against you again, I know what to put on the wheel. I have insight into your weaknesses, and like, I don't pay that kind of attention. Like, I got a job, guys. I got shit to do.
Right. I care enough to play in the Schmoedown, but and in my match with Harper, I watched the chat. I was in the chat. Don't tell anybody. But somebody mentioned the 2 I missed were asked a year ago in some other match. Well, I guess I should have studied those matches. But if I'm going to watch an old Star Wars match or Return of the Jedi, I'm fucking choosing Return of the Jedi. You know, it's like I'll lose because I watch Star Wars movies instead of Alex Damon's match from whatever con. You know,
right? And so that is like a weird. Like, we were going to go up against. I believe Shazam maybe, and I was like, hey, maybe we should put video game movies up on the wheel. Those guys don't seem like guys who watch a lot of video game movies. And Oyama immediately was like, no, Bibiani loves those. Like, it's the most obvious. Like, how do you not know, you idiot? How can you study 100 people's tastes, you moron? So anyway, very helpful to have a guy like that around, because I'm never going to become that guy.
I know.
But it's funny, Lon, that you downplay yourself like that. But then going into your match with McWeenie, you win, and you start strong with like the perfect first round, just to get that flex. McWeenie drops 1 in there, but that made all the difference going into round 3. You know, we talked a little bit about round 2 with the wheel and our in-depth theories on that, but we don't want to sit there and conjure Video Drew like we were talking about earlier this evening. But like going into round 3, having that 5. When you're seeing McWeenie starting to clear through his 2 and his 3, going up to his 5, I don't know. My gut, I'm like wondering, like, what is Lon feeling in this right now? Because it's just like you're about to have to answer a lot more questions in round 2 with McWeenie. Oh,
I mean, I always go in with the expectation that I'm going to have to answer 2, 3, 5. Like I don't, very rare. I haven't gotten, certainly I think final exam, we've gotten our fair share of TKOs. Personally, I haven't really TKO'd or KO'd that many players. It usually goes to where I need to answer the 3 or the 5. And I've actually got I think I had a decent track record at hitting my 5. I've gotten, I feel like I've gotten at least some.
I think it's at 33%. We covered it.
So whatever, something like that. So I don't feel like it's impossible and like, oh, I'm going to lose if I have to go to the 5. But yeah, no, it's always a pledge. You can see it in my face usually. if they tell me I don't have to answer by 5, it's like, ooh, delightful. It's a nice surprise when it happens. So yeah, I definitely thought I was going to have to go through the entire round 3 this time. Because it wasn't, anytime it's not like a blowout, it's like, well, it's probably going to go mostly to the end, if not the end. I mean, anymore, it's always, close. Like, I don't really feel like there are that many Schmoedown matches that really are like, by round 2, it's totally over.
Yeah, those days might be gone.
Yeah.
The weird thing about Star Wars, which is unique in 100 different ways, is that I am not afraid of 5s in that, because I know mostly 5s.
Mm-hmm.
It's the tricky
all
little
5s.
It's it's all 5s. But
that's when you show off, Adam, is at the 5s.
Yeah.
That's where I show off. That's where my clips come from. But in the regular Schmoedown singles, you're watching that, because if you get above a 3-point difference, then the other person has to answer 2 questions, or you have to answer 2 questions before they have to answer 1, and that becomes slightly more insurmountable. But in Star Wars, I'm always like, well, I know I got the 5. Like I know that's not going to ever play out so badly that way that I can always take everyone to a 5, because I'll answer my 5 most of the time.
So Adam Witt starts with 5 points in the Star Wars match when you go in.
I feel like I do, actually. I have no fear of the 3s and the 5s. I just have fears of tricky 1s.
I love that. I love that so much. I think that's such a great mentality to have. And I think both of you guys' mentality plays so well to your play styles as well. And I think, again, as much as I was saying how much I enjoy Adam Witt's match earlier on, to the same degree, trust me, I have you on my fantasy draft, so no one was more happy than me to see you just clean the table with McWeenie as well. Of all players.
I can't wait to watch this match. It's you and McWeenie? Oh my God, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's me and McWeenie, and it's bad. I mean, he missed 1 in round 1, and then I picked up the bonus, and then we're fairly back.
Who had to go to multiple? What were the split of multiples in round 2? Who went multiple?
I went multiple twice, but one of the 2 times it's like an unforced error. I guess. Here, I'll give you the question. Adam. The question was, I spun Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
And the question is, in her.
What was the Ghost World question they gave you?
Oh, boy, I wish, brother. Blues Hammer. No, I didn't come up. And so the question is, what's the name of the operating system that Scarlett Johansson voices in her? Now, I know, because I recently watched her, Samantha is the name that she gives herself. Right. But I also know that it's the OS1 operating system. Okay. So I wasn't 100% sure which name. Probably in retrospect, when you're not thinking about it in the moment, it seems clear they were going for Samantha. But in my head, I was like, I don't want to say Samantha.
No.
They're incorrect. And then it goes to Drew and he knows OS1. So I went to multiple so that they said the 4 names and then immediately got that it was Samantha was in fact what they were looking for. Gotcha. So I guess what the right thing I guess people were saying would have been to do would be to just answer Samantha. If they said it was wrong, challenge.
Right.
And say, well, it could have been OS1, whatever.
Did you go perfect? Did you go perfect in your first round?
Yes, I went perfect, and then I got the bonus, and then in round 2, I went multiple on that question, and then got Samantha, and then I went multiple on one other question and got the answer, which was Scarlett Johansson voices Princess Mindy in what Nickelodeon movie? And I was pretty sure it was SpongeBob, but I wasn't 100%, so I went to multiple, and it was in fact the SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob, yeah.
And then I got the others.
Did you go to multiple? How many times?
Drew did go to multiple. I believe 2 times? No, just 1. 2 times. He got it once, and then he missed it once, and I failed to pick up the steal. And then he missed another question, and I also failed to pick up the steal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So really, the big difference going into the third round was the perfect round in the first.
It was, and that it was Transcendence. I remembered the name of the terrible Johnny Depp movie, Transcendence, and Drew forgot it.
No, Lon, I'm so glad you brought up the her question though, because I know I remember you were watching that was me and the chat were on the same wavelength, and one of these people who was like, that could bear to an interesting challenge to a certain point, because I almost wonder if you don't sit there and say, Samantha, if they say it's incorrect, and then you say, okay, well, before you answer, can I sit here and provide the answer to the system?
I tried, and I'll give you guys a tiny peek behind the curtain, which this was removed from the final end.
Ooh, I love
the question was asked, and I said, well, wait, there are 2 names I could give you. One is the name of the operating system that's the brand name, and one is, and I didn't give either answer. And I said, and one is the human name that she chooses. And Sam Levine, who was Drew's manager, very insistent that no additional help be provided.
Right.
But put the kibosh on that immediately. And so all of that was removed from the final version. And I just go to multiple.
Right. So it's interesting. That line actually stayed into the release with it, but obviously like the back and forth with Sam, or I guess that part.
Right. The managers coming in was not included.
Oh, did you start to call a challenge on the question before you went to multiple?
Yes. My knowledge of challenge protocol, I guess, was off, because I thought makes more sense to challenge before I provide an answer. We clarify which brand of answer they're looking for, and then I give an answer rather than going through the challenge system, which felt unnecessarily elaborate to me when they could have just clarified. But that's not how they decided to do it, and so I just got the 1 point instead of a potential 2. But it didn't end up mattering because I won the match.
Right.
So.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's totally selfish. Like I said, Lon, I have you on my fantasy draft, so 1 extra point for Dylan is fine.
1 extra point. Yeah,
so.
Sorry.
But no,
sorry about that. I didn't cover the spread.
You're doing a lot of work for me after all the stress I put you through.
I'm trying my best.
But yeah, no, I think that's an awesome point to sit there and make, and that's hilarious that it's Sam Levine that's sitting there and cracking down, because that was so much of his strategy when he played. Was he would get every little bit of extra info he could, or
I think that's why he's so sensitive to it.
Yeah, exactly.
He felt like I was trying to Sam Levine him when I really was not. I was just trying to clarify. I wasn't trying to pull Levine, but I think he thought I might have been.
No, he felt it. He was like, no, you're not about to do what I did for you.
He was so fast.
I've
never seen a manager, because Winston's got a laid back managerial style. It would be more like, like it would have been a more subtle thing. Sam was like leapt through the monitor. It was like the girl from The Ring. There was just a hand on my desk.
You said I want to write down both things multiple choice are given, and then suggest.
I could, like, literally the moment I tried to clarify beforehand, it was just like, no, give an answer. You have to give an answer.
Ah, okay.
The only thing I could use a JTE, I could go multiple, or I could give an answer. Those were the only options that Mark Ellis gave me that were on the table.
Which I think is funny too, and then after we'll kind of like wind down on this question in the match. But what I think is funny is that the wording even says, and that's nothing against the question runners at all. Great questions all across the board.
It's a great question, and look, it makes sense.
It's a perfect question.
And I got that, like when you say Samantha, it's like, of course, they could have tweaked it to be like, what name does it give for self, or like what's the human name that they choose? But I don't. It's not a. I'm not trying to point out like a flaw in the question writing. It's just where my brain went when I was,
It's like we've asked the question in training or whatever before of like, what is the model of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator?
Right.
Well, he is a T-800, but in the movie he says he's Cyberdyne Systems Model 101. But nobody knows that fact enough for that to be the answer.
And in Terminator Dark Fate, he calls himself Carl. So. And he owns a drapery. He owns a drapery. Where's that 5-pointer? What kind of company does Carl own in Terminator Dark Fate? I'm right there.
I love Dark Fate.
I enjoyed it.
I love all movies.
Terminator 2, but Mexico this time? Sure. Okay. I'm on board.
A T-1000 with the T-800 inside of it. Pretty good idea.
You don't have to work that hard for me.
You do.
You don't have to go. I feel like they're trying too hard. It's on some level. It's like just robots, and they shoot each other. That's all I need.
So, do we want to touch on anything else from Drew McQueenie's and Lon Harris's match before we move on really quickly?
I mean, chat or Adam.
I think we covered most of it. I did not know Going in Style, which was his 5-pointer. I thought that was very.
That 5-pointer.
His 5-pointer was it was 2010s, and it was Joey King plays the granddaughter of Michael Caine in this film that also features Morgan.
Yeah, George Burns.
That was a very tough 5-pointer.
Yeah. No, that was a very tried and true 5-pointer too. It gave you
that's not a top of mind movie for anyone. Certainly not me.
So we don't have to do a deep dive into Jeffrey Cohn versus I forget his name.
I couldn't go too deep on that.
John Flickinger, thank you so much.
Yeah, Flickinger, yeah. Boom.
Yeah. We don't have to do a deep dive into that. But Jeffrey Kahn did get out of there with a TKO against it. What a big win for the Finstock Exchange. You guys, both of y'all have been inside of this league for quite some time now, and the Finstock Exchange picked up a lot of rookies. Have you all seen any of these rookies that are on the Exchange play, and how are you feeling about this new rookie season that's coming in? I'll start with Adam.
It's really classic Finstock that the talk of the draft somehow after that draft is all about Bobby Finstock. I mean, it's so funny. It's all we're talking about still. I don't know how he figures that out. I was on Gucci and Kaiser last night, and King Khan was on there, so I got to talk to him. Got the match spoiled, but what was the question?
What do you think about the rookie class of Bobby Finstock?
It turns out the dossier, or the word he overused last night, was synopsis. I got a synopsis of this, a synopsis of that.
Now, dossier is the word they're looking for.
Dossier.
Synopsis is not correct.
There is no dossier. I'm convinced.
There's no. It's all made up. It's totally made up.
No, he talked with the Barbarian, and he's like, I don't know, I like that guy.
Barbarian literally was DMing people on Twitter. I don't want to ruin this for you guys. I don't want to spoil the illusion. Every once in a while, you'd get a Craig Gaynor DM. Be like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. But
where are you headed?
Griffin Newman is someone I've listened to the podcast for years, and nobody I knew outside of, or I don't know him, but nobody I knew of outside the Schmoedown needed to be in the Schmoedown more than Griffin Newman. So, and there is no faction Griffin Newman should go on more than the Finstock Exchange. So,
what a fun match! That was such a fun match to watch.
He's so fun. He's so perfect for the Finstock Exchange.
Yeah, he's funny. It's fascinating because usually in a sports league, and I'm not the sports guy, but like I do know this, that the year you bring in a lot of rookies would be like, well, it's a rebuilding year, you know?
Yeah, it's like Saturday Night Live.
We're gonna work right, exactly. It's like we're gonna listen. Melissa Villasenor, she's funny. We're gonna work with her this season, and then by next year, you guys will love her.
Right, very true.
But that doesn't. You can't really do that in the Schmoedown because you're just going to lose all of these people again next year. Like if they're very good, they're going to get wooed away by other people. So it's a very. I'm not saying it was a bad call. It's just a very bold move because it's not like they're going to get 3 years to really see the potential of all these people. It's like you got 2 matches and then your season is sort of up or down. You know, like that side of the deciding vote. So I salute them for their bravery. They're really like you got to put your money where your mouth is if you're drafting all rookies in this league.
Yep.
If I could speak for Gucci, I'd say thank you. I'm very brave.
You gotta have a lot of faith. You got they got Brother Lomas on their side, so the Lord may be working in their favor. I don't know.
Oh boy.
By the way, I think I helped make one of the most watchable episodes of Late Night with Gucci and Kaiser last night. But again, that is on a scale.
I mean, I've been on that show, so I'm just putting it out there.
And you've never rewatched it. I don't think Gucci has never woken up the next day and was like, I'm going to watch that show back. But I got to say, last night...
I don't remember what we talked about. I couldn't tell you one thing that was discussed when I was on. Oh, no, that's not true. It was who would do what role if we were pulling a heist. That ended up dominating
that's
a lot
a great question for that show. Yeah, that's awesome.
The rating system for Late Night with Gucci and Kaiser is one episode is 5 stars, another episode is 20 points, another episode is 3 out of 5. The rating system for that show.
Not sure what to make of this program.
Right.
It is off the charts. So with that, at the end of the week, with all of the matches that have gone through, it looks like the Dungeon is number 1 in the factions with 24 points.
Thanks to me.
Sitting high and pretty right up there. That's right.
Not riding any coattails here.
None at all. And unfortunately, Swag is down at 7 out of 8, which is very unfortunate, especially. I have to admit, the Dungeon and Swag are my 2 favorite factions inside of the league. I have both of those hoodies. So I absolutely am happy about where the dungeon is and very sad about where Swag is, but also
It's
very
early.
happy.
Listen.
It's very early, and you have some hotshot players on your teams, especially with these tournaments coming up. Before we move on into what I know Dylan is very excited to talk about. Looking forward to tournament season. How are you all feeling? Lon, how are you feeling about going? You're not going into the tournament.
No. Final exam. Yeah, we're sitting out the because we had the number one contender match against Shazam recently. So yeah, we'll be sitting out the tournament match. But representing Swag will be my brother Jonathan, partnered with Eric Zipper as the midterms. They're going up against little known obscure upstart team from the dungeon. Two guys I have.
We were lucky we could find two people to team up.
They
to put in that
found
one.
two people to throw together. Yeah, so they'll be going up against the imposing team of Merle Bateman in round one. And I was saying to those guys, because obviously it's an intimidating way to start your team's career, but it's kind of if you win, obviously it's amazing. You slayed the dragon. You're David, their Goliath. But as long as you hold your own,
right,
you win, because those guys are expected to like stomp you. So like any good showing is like you're up on the deal. You come out of it looking great.
Yeah, take them to the 3. Take them to the 5.
Yeah, it's like as long as they hang in there to round 3 and don't get knocked out, like they did great, you know. Like that.
Yeah, you just want to prove that you belonged there, you know.
Exactly. And I almost feel like, and I've been in both positions. I've been in the underdog, and I've been in the dominant player who's expected to win easily. And it's better. It's more fun to be the underdog, because if you're the dominant player, the pressure's all on you. You have to win, or you look embarrassed, you know? It's like you got showed up by this upstart who wasn't supposed to have a chance against you. I always look back on the Cody Hall. One of my very first matches was me against Cody Hall. And I ended up winning, but nobody remembers that I beat Cody in the final score. They only remember round 1 because he got perfect against me and I didn't. So round 1 was this like, oh my God, it's happening, you know, like he's going to beat the professor. And that's all people remember. So you really don't have to win the match. That's not the important thing. It's the holding your own against a opponent who's perceived as much stronger than you.
Yeah, that's got to be some big pressure on Bateman and Dan also. Is that pressure getting anywhere or leaked at all inside of the dungeon, Adam Witt? Are Ben and Dan, are they sharing their strategies with y'all at all?
Oh yeah. There's definitely, but you know, something like right now as they're training for that match, it's all hands on deck to, you know, get those guys trained. It's like whoever does the next match is like all hands on deck, and then I think next is Drew's match, so we're all hands on deck for Drew. But yeah, I mean, you would think. I mean, I'm not saying anything against the team they're playing, but they are always playing the. Like this is make or break, the biggest opponent we've ever faced. You know, it's like, you know, Merle is always training like he is going to face Bateman, and Bateman's always training like he's going to face Merle. Like, they're very competitive guys. And so every next match they do, I mean, watching it from an insider point of view, every next match that's coming up for those guys is the most important match of all time, and it might be the last one I'll ever play if I lose. I mean, that's the attitude going in. So they're very competitive guys. It's something to watch. I mean, it's kind of cool to be in the inside of this, in the dungeon, to watch those two guys, those two incredible competitors, and how they approach everything. I mean, it's inspiring. You know, going into some of these Star Wars matches and stuff. I mean, I've never taken any of this stuff super lightly. I may have a casual attitude when I'm in the match, but yeah, I mean, seeing them, I'm like, okay, for my next Star Wars match, like, I really do need to sit down and go, well, there's some of this fact or that fact that I don't know. You know, there's some of these details that are, you know, that are harder to access just as a fan. So, like, you know, it's pretty inspiring of like, all right, hit the books. And when I say hit the books, in high school, that was terrible. I hated those books, but these books are great. These are Star Wars books. So
Star Wars encyclopedias.
Oh my God.
All day long.
I had such a great excuse last season to buy all of the resource dictionaries with all the photos in it. There's nothing better on the coffee table than just, while I'm watching something, just pick up and just leaf through Attack of the Clones. I love it.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're so much fun, and I mean, even knowing some of these books are written by competitors now. So Alex Damon has a small little Star Wars book that
Did he write a book?
Knapsack also has a Star Wars book.
Right. I was about to say.
Knapsack does, yeah.
Knowing how many people just keep being the content providers for this is interesting in itself.
And Kim Taylor Foster, a member of the Finstock Exchange, also has a book about the Matrix. Not about
Oh.
Matrix
These talented people.
Yeah.
By the way, I read Knapsack's book years ago when it came out, and then it didn't even occur to me that there would be a book on tape of it, and then I found it at my streaming library, like the LA Library streaming
I didn't know
thing.
that. Yeah. Does Ken read it?
Yes!
It's so good.
And I didn't anticipate that, oh, now I'm listening to the book as Ken read. I'm like, this is a far superior thing than to just read it.
Yeah.
Like, to have Ken tell it to you.
He should have gotten somebody like old and it should be like Charles Dance reading it. To read me Ken's book.
Oh,
When I first got my Star Wars action figure, I was enamored by Hammerhead.
Hello, this is Malcolm McDowell, and you're listening to the Ken Knapsack Star Wars book. That's what I want.
my gosh, that's
That
amazing.
would be amazing. Malcolm McDowell reads...
Malcolm McDowell reads Ken Knapsack's Why We Love Star
Why
Wars.
we? Oh my goodness.
I wonder what that would cost. Because would that be worth it?
You could just
As a joke.
Cameos, like just pay him one page per
You
cameo.
write this dumb thing and you're like, what is Malcolm McDowell's day rate? And go, okay, it's $1,200, $30,000, whatever it is.
It would be great. Yeah.
Like, to have that and go, I'm raising the money, put it out on Patreon, whatever. Like, guys, I got the best idea. It's gonna cost. It's a $15,000 joke, but we get it forever. Like Malcolm McDowell reading my Star Wars book. Oh my god!
I want to write a book just so I can hire Kelsey Grammer to read.
Oh my god! Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be something.
Yeah. Okay. I know that we do have a fantasy update from Nat. Dylan, did you want to play that now, or did you want to wait until later to play it?
Let's go ahead and hold it for the end of the episode. Nat's one of those.
Oh, this isn't the end of the episode?
No.
Oh boy, what a huge.
Yeah, thank you.
One
Time
critical
commitment.
segment
All right.
left.
Yeah.
Dylan wants to bring something up, so I'm going to go ahead and let Dylan transition over into that conversation.
All right, so we've been on the rails for too long. It's been too cordial, and this hasn't been about me in 5 seconds, apparently. So, if you guys haven't tuned into Twitch Tuesday, which also call to action on our own Twitch channel, it's not over here on the YouTube where we do everything shiny and fancy and overlays. It's the Wild West at YouTube or over on Twitch. Which is why they gave it to me and Nat to run, because they don't care what we say over there. It usually doesn't get the views. It's fine. But it turns out people care about fast food. So we did a fast food bracket, which had a pretty controversial play out by the time it all was said and done. Jake,
Mistakes were made. Mistakes were definitely made.
So walk us through what really... Yeah, walk us through this.
Well, I got right off the bat. Your goal was to pick the better of the two places, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify before we start, because I got to be honest, looking at the results, could not tell that just visually that was the goal.
Look, this is a tough bracket for some of the better foods.
It's a tough bracket. It's a bad bracket.
It's a terrible bracket.
DeBellas? Blippi's went up against DeBellas?
Yeah, no. Well, DeBellas went up against
No,
Charlie.
Charlie's. Subway. Okay. Charlie's and DeBellas went up against each other.
What is DeBellas?
I don't know.
I've never had it. I don't know, and that affected the votes at times. So,
all right, Popeyes,
listen, I've got two huge bones of contention right off the bat.
It beat Popeyes. I mean, that's not inconceivable.
Subway versus Popeyes. I feel like something broke down here. How does Subway beat Popeyes in a heads-up, face-off, 1-to-1 match?
You know, the funny thing is, I can't remember. That's the one I remember thinking, looking at it, and I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's pretty mystifying, and it really throws off all of the rest of your results.
My theory is that someone dropped the ball and completely forgot to do the bracket against Subway and Popeyes, and then just let Subway fall through. That's my theory. I did not watch it.
That's a very Nat thing
to eliminate everything else.
Subscribe
if you
to
just go sandwich. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was saying, even if you just go heads up, we'll just pick one, like the best Subway sandwich versus the best Popeyes sandwich. There's no challenge. It's obviously the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell my other huge bone of contention here, and then we can go into all the other horrible things.
Yes.
Domino's versus Taco Bell?
Yeah.
And then Domino's wins?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's another one.
Can you hear the tone of my voice?
All right. So I actually have a whole mood about that one. So, and it says more about Taco Bell than it does Domino's. And another thing to keep in mind, everybody, I'm in the Bible Belt. We do food a little different, even fast food. So keep all these things in mind. It's context based here. So Taco Bell. Here's my thing on Taco Bell.
First of all, is it Taco Bell or Taco Bell?
Yes, it's it's just Taco Bell, just the two.
It's Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a there. So
is it Pizza Hut or Pizza
Combination
Hut?
Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
I'm at the
Jamaica
Pizza Hut.
Avenue.
I'm at the Taco Bell. Everybody know that song? If people don't know that
Gotta be a
song,
little older, right? I'm at that combination
Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
So the biggest thing there was at some point, I don't think it was brought up that Taco Bell and Pizza Hut were both like, again, we joke, but think about how many of these stores you've seen Taco Bell / Pizza Huts. Domino's ends up beating Pizza Hut in it. And then there becomes a discussion, well, if it would beat Pizza Hut, it would be Taco Bell. They share the same building. This is the kind of logic we use to break it down because we were clearly past the point of taste at this point.
I disagree with your use of the word logic.
Yeah.
Listen, I agree. I have a bone to pick with Taco Bell overall, though. Listen, as beloved as it is, I have beef with it. No pun intended. So they said there.
Why don't you intend that pun? It's right there.
You
That's a great point. I don't give myself enough credit for my comedy.
Intend your puns, Dylan.
Yes. So Taco Bell, listen, everybody loves Taco Bell. There's this beloved thing about Taco Bell. It's the cheap food. It's the drunk food. It's the slow-bit food. It's not actually Mexican. Well, we don't really know what to call Taco Bell other than Taco Bell.
It used to be good. It started sucking about 10 years ago, like really badly. Really badly.
It used to be better. But it's still better than Domino's.
It used to be a lot better.
Yeah,
Domino's is not even good by like crappy neighborhood pizza standards. Like we're in Los Angeles and there's better places to order pizza from than Domino's. That's damning. They should not be. This is an easy sell. Like,
damn it.
I'll say this though. So Taco Bell is one of these things. As I've gotten older, the things that I've loved about it have faded from my thing. As a college student who got hammered every Thursday through Sunday, I was on board with Taco Bell. As a man in his 30s with acid reflux disease, hearing Taco Bell flames me up already. And then I go find the things that I want out of it, and they keep taking the stuff off the menu that I enjoy. It just was the least it was the old phrase. It was like, oh, whenever they took, when they took the Jewish people, then nobody was there, and then when they took
I said nothing.
When they came for the
they took away my cheesy roll-up, and I said nothing.
My gordita crunches. They took
and I said nothing.
Took this, and all I was left with the beefy 5-layer burrito, and it's $2.49 now. I was paying 89 cents for that.
Yeah.
Told you it was all Dylan's fault. Yeah. You know what?
Nat, thank you, Nat, for exposing the truth.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this blasphemy.
Here's my whole thing. So Taco Bell, it's not that it's not still good. Like whatever. My wife's a vegetarian now. It's one of the few places she can go to.
That'll make you one.
Taco Bell. But yeah, I put a vote against it. That being said, there were 2 other hosts, maybe even 3 at that time. I can't remember how long.
You can't blame Dylan.
There, and it went through. So
it feels like you're holding Taco Bell up to the standard. Like, well, of course it's not as good as like what Tia Consuelo would make me, like from Juarez, but like nobody's asking for that. It's like it's just be compared to Domino's, which is garbage. So like, yes, it's not as good as authentic Mexican food like you could get in other parts of Los Angeles.
I think you need to sequel this. Okay, how did you choose the seeds first of all on the bracket?
None of the seeds. All that stuff was pre-generated. So
you need to do it again and determine the seeds with coin flips, genuinely random or dice rolls, and then reseed and try it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alex Smithy in the chat room says we should have an XL fat burger. I believe that's called a King burger. Not an XL fat burger. Is there an XL fat burger?
XL fat burger.
I believe that the King burger is the large size fat burger.
I have no idea what fat burger is.
Fat burger is a Los Angeles burger chain.
Okay.
You guys don't remember Going Back to Cali, Biggie Smalls song?
Yeah, is that referenced in there?
If you want to squirt her, take her to Fat Burger. That's what Biggie says. That's what
Biggie says. So it must be fact.
It's gospel.
So anyway,
Who beats Sbarro?
I mean, Sbarro is
Listen,
New York pizza joint.
When you're starving and you're trapped in a mall, Sbarro.
Oh God, it's such mall.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick Domino's over Sbarro.
Oh, of course. No, there's some genuinely good wins in this.
Yeah. No, like listen, some of the stuff's there. I think McDonald's.
Charlie's doesn't beat Subway.
If I'm being totally honest, but
No.
I mean,
I
in Popeyes and Subway's,
I've not had
it's in
Charlie. I've not had Charlie, so I can't speak to the quality.
No, that's true. I haven't really.
Zaxby's beating Chick-fil-A, I remember, was a very controversial.
In-N-Out losing to Sonic also. Like, I understand hometown favorite. I may be a little biased there, but
I can tell you as a fact that was 100%.
In-N-Out losing to Whataburger was blasphemy in its own.
That's weird.
Listen,
I mean, winning over Whataburger. Should have been Whataburger.
I would probably vote In-N-Out over Whataburger.
No,
certainly over Sonic.
Wrong.
Hey, I think we're all happy that White Castle didn't make it past the first round, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see White Castle beating Wendy's. The fondness, though, I have for White Castle,
Right.
It's really just that onion paste jam thing. It depends on how much you're into that.
If onion paste is your jam.
That onion, like how would you describe that? It's like an onion sauce they put on the burgers. It's not onions.
Yeah, it's
like it's not like just a piece of onion. It's like an onion goo.
Onion goo.
It's like they've got it in some kind of like gun. Like that's not. It's
yes. Shooting things onto hamburgers and stuff.
Like at everybody's favorite fast food place, Taco Bell, where they've got the sour cream gun.
Just filled with sour cream. Yeah. And it's the same gun. It's a caulk gun.
It's just a caulk gun. Probably just never had caulk in it, so you don't get caulk in your sour cream.
Lon, you're mentioning caulk guns and
How big is your caulk?
I was very careful to pronounce the L every time.
He's a gentleman.
Specifically, I hit that L.
Caulk guns and shooting glue. Goo.
Right.
Yeah. Onion goo. Onion goo.
So,
onion goo.
I think it's funny that we bring that up because there was originally a study. And so here's the one things I'll give, credit to credit's due, or Taco Bell. They're not afraid to tell you what they are. There was like a study and a headline going back like a couple years back that I remember seeing that was like Taco Bell beef is not 100% beef. It's like more like 78% beef, and the rest is like sand. And then Taco Bell did and that came out as a headline.
My favorite rumor was that it was kangaroo meat.
Yeah, like there was a whole other weird thing about it.
That sounds like it would be more expensive. Why would they use kangaroos and just cows?
And alligator. One of the ingredients inside of the shells for Taco Bell is also an active ingredient inside of kitty litter or something like that.
They do that, but those are just like the same chemicals are in everything. Like they like to play those games.
I still eat Taco Bell. Don't get me wrong. I love my kitty litter taco, so all good on this end.
I love that Taco Bell tweeted back at them, and they were like, actually, our meat is 74% only meat.
You're going to get that
right. Hey, here's a question. What do you guys know about, suddenly Colbert, Seth Meyers, Saturday Night Live all started making fun of Arby's and saying Arby's is terrible, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a sort of thing, it became the punchline for everything. Is that paid for by Arby's? They're like, make fun of us. Because it's good advertising, right?
It has to be.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, they all I feel like The Simpsons used to do that. Like, there was, the recurring gag on The Simpsons was that, I'd rather eat at Arby's. Oh, my God, Arby's. That was there, and everybody else started doing it. But I do think that...
Yeah, because it's around the time that they had We Have the Meats thing. Right. Yeah. Which means that you can always tell when a company was taken over by an ironic hipster marketing company, and they get real self-aware, right?
Right.
Like, that's a weird catchphrase, but it sticks in my head.
Or like when Quiznos used to do those just irritating, crazy meme ads, where it's like, this just makes no sense and is awful. And it's just just attention. It's exactly like these guys putting up a fast food bracket that Subway wins. Negative attention is still attention.
Get lots of attention.
I won't lie to you.
Brought back
was on that
nightmare fuel for me, Lon. Just thinking about those hamsters, those talking
Yeah,
hamsters.
Quiznos.
Yeah, I won't lie. If Quiznos was on that bracket, it would have won the whole thing for me, probably. I don't know.
miss Quiznos. I used to
I
live across
really
the street
miss
from one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't had it in 15 years now since I moved away from that place.
Yeah. That was what
I ate it every week, like 2 or 3 times a week. It was, and
I
it
feel
was
like
good.
I don't see Quiznos. Do they still
No,
exist?
is that a Midwest thing? That's not here.
No, well, they
I
used to
haven't-
have them in LA.
Did they?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
saw them in Utah, and I haven't seen any in a while, so I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
think
they've...
they may be I think we may be
Yeah.
seeing the end of Quiznos because they used to be all over LA.
Yeah, they're even died out all the way out here in the
We've
Kentucky
seen the end
area.
of Kenobi, and we'll soon see the end of Quiznos.
Yeah. That's what makes me
Single
sad.
tier. Goodbye, Quiznos.
I can tell you though, after the whole bracket experience and seeing Twitter take off like crazy with it. So we had I haven't checked within this episode. We had 127 quote tweets of it. And I can tell you, 126 of those were not positive responses.
Yeah.
However, we had one person, and I'm going to call them out. It's
How
at
many new followers?
xintrovert44 on Twitter. Go follow them, I guess. That's my shout out to them.
All right.
They said Subway supremacy, and then gives an emoji being like, That's the closest thing we came to positivity in 127 quotes.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if you found this channel from that tweet, please like, comment, and subscribe on this. We do talk about Schmoedown here and not about fast food all of the time.
If you want to catch our fast food takes, continue to go over to our Twitch channel where you can also
And check out the next bracket, most prominent member of the Nazis. I feel like Goebbels. I feel like it's going to be Goebbels.
The next bracket could be which fast food company has as its mascot a convicted sex offender, and I think it would end the same way.
The same winner.
Same way!
Yeah. That's who introvert2498 on Twitter is. We found them out.
Better stay at introvert instead of going Jared's route. Way too
I
out
didn't
there.
even think they were letting that guy use computers. Because it seems like
That's why he's using a decoy account,
yeah.
Burner.
a burner. There we go.
Burner account. I love that.
Yeah.
Biggest first edible you ever do. I can see when it kicks in.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Hey, very important. If you don't feel anything in 45 minutes, for God's sakes, don't eat the rest of it.
Don't take more. Yeah.
What?
We've all
That's
made
solid
this
advice.
classic error.
Solid advice.
I had a friend who had an edible, and if you want cookies, get cookies, right? Don't
Yeah.
eat the rest of that cookie.
Yeah.
But ate a quarter of it because that was the suggestion. Didn't feel anything in 45 minutes and ate the rest. The rest? No, eat another quarter, maybe.
Yeah.
The rest?
I'll tell you, one of my very first times ever taking any kind of edible whatsoever, I was at South by Southwest, and my friend and I were going to go see the premiere, the very first screening of the reboot of Evil Dead, the Fede Alvarez Evil Dead. We got tickets for that
movie.
So he's got a cookie, and he breaks it in half, and he hands me half, and he's like, "Here, eat this." I just eat half a cookie. Like, it's a half a cookie. It's half. I'm figuring half to one cookie would be too much. Half would be perfect. And he sees what I've done, and he's like, oh no. It's like, you're just supposed to take break a little, like one bite, break a little bit off.
And there's no going back. There is
no
going back.
He's like, you should go home. You should not go see this movie. And I'm like, Evil Dead, open tonight, screen. Like, Bruce Campbell's going to be there. I'm not going to not go see the movie. So we go, we're on the balcony. It's at the Paramount, like the big downtown Austin theater.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell's like there with Fede Alvarez. Sam Raimi's like not that far from me. Like, I can see him.
Ooh.
There's a scene in that movie where the girl takes a knife and cuts her own tongue. Like, she's turned into a Deadite, and they mutilate themselves. That's what the Deadites do. And I got, suddenly, I felt fine. And then this violent, gross thing happens. And suddenly I'm just like, oh God, I'm going to die. What's happening to me? And I had to, put my head down in my hands for, 20 full minutes of this movie to, recover. But
because the
it
weird
worked
thing
out-
about edibles
but
is it
okay.
gives you enough time to forget that you took anything.
Yeah, no, I was just
That
watching the
was
movie.
an
then
hour ago.
All of a sudden, it's just like a blanket, just like ah.
Like, why do I
you
feel
know,
so weird?
Yeah. Like, oh god, and like I can't get up. Like I don't want to like get in the middle of the movie, like fall over, embarrass myself. Like Bruce Campbell's sitting right there. So I just had to just tough it out. And afterwards, my friend was like, "You really didn't like that movie?" I was like, "No, I did. I needed like a 20-minute break in the middle." Once I had a timeout, it was all right. This was way before the Professor Orphan.
That's an origin story.
Yeah, this is just the early. This was Slippin' Jimmy story.
Paul's talking about excellent eating another one. Stoner movies, new category in FCL. Yo, when do we start hearing the Super Troopers questions? That's what I'm waiting for.
Here, what question?
That's good.
Yeah, what?
Super Troopers questions. He's mentioning
Oh.
stoner movies, and I'm like, oh, that's just my favorite.
I would like to petition for stoner movies to be a category inside of the movie trivia Schmoedown. That'd be
That'd be a good
that's
one.
just
Yeah, there's enough. There's a
Oh,
long
yeah,
story
right.
history of we could do
And you
half
fold
baked
in-
and
Yeah, I mean, and even ones that aren't specifically about weed, like any movie where somebody smokes weed could be
right. That's what I was gonna say. It's like stoner
Dazed and
characters,
Confused,
like
yeah.
Big Lebowski. Yeah,
Right.
like those.
Right.
Scooby Doo
Yeah.
Return to Skull Island would absolutely be in that category.
Yeah.
Even though there's no smoking weed in there, you have to watch that movie.
I feel like
high
Shaggy.
to really
The
enjoy it.
implication is that Shaggy is stoned. We're just not
Yeah.
seeing
100%.
it.
100%.
And that legend is that like early pop culture conversations, like back in the 90s, like, hey, did you ever notice everybody's high in that? You're like, wow, you blew my mind.
Yeah,
well,
that
now
was right.
now 20 years of Scooby-Doo movies have been made with people knowing that's the prevailing.
Right. That was cool at first to be like, if you think about it, they like to eat munchies all the time.
Back when nobody knew how to talk about pop culture yet, we were just starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Casey Kasem's takedown of the
By the
Stone
way,
generation.
what is this specific? Because they make a Scooby-Doo movie every year. I know from my friends who have kids. What Scooby-Doo movie did you just mention, and why is that the one that
the
should be
one that James Gunn wrote two that they made in the 90s that Raja Gosnell, the guy who did Mystery Men, directed, and they are like they're dancing right on that self-awareness.
Oh, really?
Of, like,
that's awesome.
We're gonna like kind of wink at that people know, these jokes.
Oh, that's
but
right,
not,
the live action ones,
right? But not fully go into it, but just like let you know that we know,
okay.
the bit.
Yeah.
With Linda Cardellini and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and,
right?
Matthew
Freddie
Lillard,
Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Exactly.
Friend of the show, Freddie Prinze Jr. over on Schmoedown.
Oh, look at you.
Say hi to him for me.
Adam, I like that earlier you were asking us about like why talk shows were all talking about Arby's and things like that, like late night talk shows.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, I just got this impression that you were asking like us specifically as like an after show. And he's like, you guys know Letterman, right? Like you guys must know these after shows.
You guys got that. You guys got that Arby's bucks, right? You guys are being paid off by big roast beef, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's $1,000. Make fun of us.
Right.
I'd do it for free.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that I perhaps have broached a theory that you're in the bag for Big Subway. You've been paid to do this.
I mean, listen, I can't.
Oh, look at it already. Oh, I think we touched the nerve.
So
disseminated.
We need to confirm
all I
or
can
deny
say
our
is
sponsorships.
all I can say is I'm legally not allowed to say if I'm sponsored by Subway or not, but that's all I can say.
Do you remember that storyline in Community with the Subway guy? That was a fun one.
No.
That's all that I'm adding to that. That's it. Well, Dylan, woo, buddy. That's my transition.
I think we figured it all out tonight, right?
I think
I
I
think
figured it all out
done.
tonight, guys. No worries. I said I was going to be time conscious on the 1:30 marker for this evening's episode. But before we go, best but not last, as always, my co-host over on Twitch Tuesday Night Vooz, fantasy update. So everybody stick around. We're about to go ahead and pull up that fantasy update here for you shortly. Give me just 1 second.
It's relevant. I just like that statement. It's relevant. Talk about this. It's relevant.
It's entirely relevant. Right.
I'm relevant.
Anyway, guys, here is Nat's fantasy take. Oh, it didn't go all the way full screen, but you'll bear with me.
Hello, everyone. This is your fantasy update for the week. And if you don't know, this is where I give you some advice on fantasy Schmoedown. Let's see, this week we had Thomas Harper beat Adam Witt, which was a great match. You should definitely keep an eye on these two because they're very good. You know what? I can't do this. I can't. A lot has happened this week that I feel like I should address.
What's going on with that?
This Tuesday, I had the idea to do a fast food bracket.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I wanted to, so I posted it online, and that's when the internet went crazy. So here we go. Look at this. Take a look. All right. This is by far the most impactful thing I've ever done. 400,000. And I had muted this entire thread.
Who's Natty Ice 44?
I didn't even realize that.
Nat.
I ratioed my own tweet.
Oh, that's his Natty Ice 44.
People don't even realize that I was part of it, even though I tagged myself in. I mean, come on.
Now I see.
Freaking Matilda retweeted this.
Yeah,
What the fuck happened here?
This was not my fault.
Ah.
Bracket that I wanted. No. If Billy Belford hadn't left during middle of the bracket,
Blame it on Belford.
would have won.
Yeah.
Taco Bell would have won. If it was up to me, Domino's would not have made it out of round number 1. Are you kidding me? This is what happens. People need to understand. This is not one person's bracket. This is all of us, all 3 of us, or 4 of us, or however many. We voted on it.
400,000.
We all had our biases, and the most mediocre fast food chain won because of that. That's what happened. Stop blaming me. Watch the damn episode. People are tagging me and shit. You don't realize that I tried so hard to fight against this. I tried so hard. And I'm saying this now because Dylan's hosting, and I know he's probably bad-mouthing me to everyone. And I need a clear record. Watch the damn episode. It was not me.
And it's on Twitch. It's
What
the
I'm-
glory
I
of Twitch.
don't even know what they are. Let's see. This is one of the nicer.
This is a really.
Well, this one was not as nice.
No.
No,
Randy.
on the PJCN. I don't know if you realize this, but I never get invited to shows anyway. It's true. So this changes nothing for me. You're gonna give me shit, but this guy, this person, put Johnny Rockets in the Final Four, and he just gets a pass. Are you kidding me?
I don't give that guy a pass.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Was Arby's even in the starting bracket?
I
was
I
there.
think it was
It
there.
was
something completely
on there.
unrelated to fast food, and all of their replies, almost all except for Alex, are freaking coming after me for fast food. I thought it was a pretty funny tweet that had nothing to do with fast food. Can you leave me alone, please? This person says Subway beats no one. Have you seen the bracket? You're telling me that you would have rather had Blimpies won. over Blimpie.
Blimpies.
What the fuck is Blimpie?
Real,
You ever heard of
real
Blimpie?
monkey's
I
Nat
paw.
had a
That in Subway?
Nat had a bone to pick with the internet. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
And yeah, if nothing else, I'm hoping that this will help give me a role with Subway because I reached out to them. And funny, but that was cool. So, I mean, silver lining, you know. I actually kind of like Subway. I don't think it should have won, obviously, but
I feel like it now.
I know Jake's over there like, nah, have you done enough? No, shut the fuck up, Jake. All right, it was not my fault. Mistakes were made, and most of them were not me. I take no responsibility. But I will say to Subway, if you're watching, I think I would be a great spokesperson for you. And I know I'm kind of awkward on camera, and I don't really eat carbs anymore. But I'm not a pedophile, so please consider me.
This guy knows how to interview for a job.
Yeah, that's good. You always want to lead with that. That's
We're
good.
good. We're good, right?
Look, I've never been to Lowe's. I don't know where everything is in here, but I'm not a pedophile.
I feel like this is a real instructive lesson and be careful what you wish for. Like finally going viral, and it's not what it was cracked up to be. It's not, you know.
And King Kong looks like the kind of guy who got straight A's in high school, so you should have him on your team. Unfortunately, Alex has him on her team, and she's in first. But I'm in second, so I'm climbing the rankings.
I'll give Nat Vu props. This was relevant to our conversation.
Yes, it was.
He calls it like it is.
It's true.
Players. If you want to hear more about our thoughts on Lon Harris, check out Triple A Live, where we tell you how to beat him. Should probably not say that because Lon Harris is on this episode.
It's true.
But, hey, Lon, how you doing? I got that Drew McWeenie.
Is this live? Is he on right now?
Is he not? Can I not answer him?
Is this recorded?
Yeah.
That's all I have for you.
He's pausing when I talk.
It's like John Hammond. It's like, hello there, John. Can I just have a cup of your blood?
Yeah, correct.
So bad.
Hold on, I'm gonna try something. Hi, Nat.
This is another screenshot.
Okay, it's pre-recorded.
Hold on, StreamYard. But it was like there were like a bunch of people talking shit about the bracket setup.
I thought we were winding down, but we were just entering the next segment.
Do you think it'd be a good idea to come up with a show called Talking Shit, where you just talk about shit,
like feces?
Yeah,
like fecal discussion.
You have doctors on. You have people who,
Feature starring fecal favorite Adam Witt.
Also,
he's still
fast food. Hey, Danny, if you were a fast food item menu, you would be a McGorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Nat.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's her husband, everybody. That's her.
And on a compliment.
Great video. Cut a couple minutes out of that. Bring it back to me.
Yeah, I think it could be tight. I could feel like you could tighten it up. Yeah.
Run it through.
Are we doing notes? Are we doing notes?
I feel like
No, we got notes.
A couple fewer, little less slow mo, a few less Leonard Cohen songs. I think we could zip this up a little bit.
Well, I had a good time.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad you guys did. We had a great time. It was anywhere from viral to death threats. What a week we had! I can tell you.
Viruses, it's not what you expect.
Oh yeah, for sure. But as we're wrapping down the show, Adam Witt, let's start with you. Where can they find you, buddy?
Well, you can find me right here. Oh, you mean later after this? When people were watching?
Yes.
Okay, after. Definitely check out last night's Gucci and Kaiser. I think it's actually rewatchable.
Make this the first ever episode you rewatch.
However, yes. The thing I'm most proud of right now is the Paul Preston and I are doing a podcast in which we watch every single Harrison Ford movie from the very first one in order, and that's called the Ford Fiesta. So go find that on your podcast app of choice. Look up the Movie Guys or the Ford Fiesta. You'll find it under either of those. And enjoy and listen about a movie with Elliot Gould called Getting Straight that he has 3 lines in, but they're good lines.
Nice.
Lon, how about you, my friend?
Well, you find me on Twitter at LONS. That's the best place to keep up with what I'm doing. And I also do a podcast with Hal Rudnick, local favorite, Hal Rudnick. It's called Binge Boys. You can look that up on Spotify or iTunes or wherever fine podcasts are downloaded. We just watch a lot of streaming TV and then talk about it.
It's a great show. I love that show very much.
Hey, Lon, what's your favorite Harrison Ford movie?
Wow. Oh, so many. I mean, I love The Fugitive. I'm a huge fan of that 90s Fugitive. So that would probably be, but the one I find myself talking about and recommending to people a lot that they haven't seen, especially relevant now, is Mosquito Coast. Because Apple has a new show with Justin Theroux coming out, but I love the Peter Weir movie with Harrison Ford.
That's one I haven't seen in like 20 years maybe now at this point.
Yeah, right.
So I can't wait to get to that again.
That's an exciting episode. Yeah. I'd love to. Because it's people wanted to see him as like the hero, and then that's this really dark movie where he kind of goes insane, and so it was not like a hit in its time. Like audiences at the time were like, "What is this?"
But the character work might be Harrison Ford's best character.
It's definitely. I think it's one of his best performances for sure.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have you on the Ford Fiesta, and we'll talk.
Definitely. Definitely have me on the Mosquito Coast.
Awesome.
Kelsey.
All right, real quick, we did have a couple Streamlabs come in, so I want to read those real quick. A question for Lon and Wit. If either of you were to win the free-for-all coming up, what would you use your shot for? Singles, Star Wars, or teams?
Oh. Well. I would go for Star Wars. I would say, like, how good can I be at this? If I'm good enough to take Tom Harper, who's going to be a challenger to DiMolanta or Damon or whoever, he's going to be there. He's going to play those. He's going to play one of those two or whoever has the belt. You know, that's how good Harper is. And I took him 2 1-point questions away from going in overtime with that guy. So I'm like, well, how good can I be at this? I mean, I see what DiMolanta does. It's impressive. I see what Damon does. It's impressive. It's not insurmountable. It's not impossible. They're all just facts that, you know, you watch the movies and you write some stuff down and you go, oh, you know, I want to learn that guy's name or whatever. So yeah. Oh man, that'd be so fun. And actually, very curiously, there was a scheduling conflict for the upcoming. We're figuring out when to do that for the upcoming tournament. And there was if one of the people that I'm playing couldn't have made it, they were going to sub in Alex Damon. Because that's the other person in the faction. So who else are you going to choose? Yeah. I thought that was hilarious. And I was like talking to Kaiser, I'm like, what's better press? Like, I mean, I don't know how I can play against this other guy. And I know how it would be very hard to play Alex Damon. But I'm like, what gets people going, what? So, I don't know.
I would probably use it, I think, for teams. I mean, as much as I enjoy singles and I do feel like I'm pretty good, I feel like Paul and I have been so heartbreakingly close so many times. And I feel like as great as all of the championship teams are right now, I feel like, you know, we've already taken most of them like right up to the end. It's always been pretty competitive. So, yeah, I would definitely want another shot for final exam if I happen to take it. Who knows? Cool.
Good luck. I'm not in it.
I don't know if I'm in it. I'm not allowed to say.
All right. And then the final question we have is from Hitman Hudson. Adam Witt is cool and a genius when it comes to Star Wars movies, but does he read Star Wars books? And if so, what is your favorite Star Wars book?
I'm getting into the Star Wars books way back in the day when there was no Star Wars. Like, they were never going to make another Star Wars movie, and then in like 1990, I think it was 2 or something, was the Timothy Zahn books.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Star Wars stuff. There was never going to be Star Wars stuff again, right? So I read the first one of those. Never been a huge reader of these books, but I do enjoy, and I got some of the books on tape, which is fun. And now they even dramatize them more with sound effects and stuff. And I'm
music and
right. Because when I was a kid, we didn't have a VCR. Star Wars was only in theater once a year. So you could only see Star Wars when it was re-released. There was no other way to see Star Wars. So I had the record album that was all dialogue from the movie, the 33 and Third. And there was the NPR radio drama where they dramatized all of it with all the real people, most of them. So it's near and dear to my heart listening to the books on tape of the Star Wars books, because I'm like, oh, this is just like listening to The Empire Strikes Back on the radio when I was a kid, before VCRs. Which brings me to what's my favorite Star Wars book. I like the adaptation of, and again, I've only read a couple, but I do like the adaptation of Revenge of the Sith a lot. I've read most of the adaptations more than the new books, so I know that's a boring answer.
Isn't it wild that they made Return of the Jedi in the 80s and they were like, okay, all done. That's it. Trilogy finished.
That's it.
We'll never do that again. That Star Wars is over forever. And that was just like how it worked. And there was nobody like, should we just like make more of those? Like, should we just keep going? And there was not even a discussion. It was like decades until somebody was like, hey, you know what we should do? Another Star Wars. Wouldn't that be good?
It's crazy. And then they take 15 years off. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It's a tremendous joy to me because I get to go through the emotions of, oh, that's it. There will never be another Star Wars movie. Yeah. Like, I had a 2-year come down after, and luckily there's stuff like, suddenly like Transformers and G.I. Joe and all this other stuff. I'm like, okay, it distracted me. Wrestling became a thing. But yeah, I mean, that was what was so crazy about the Phantom Menace. I was like, this joy I'm feeling, I'd put and locked it away and stuck it underground.
You were just like, yeah, well, they did 3. I mean, you can't, like, that's it. Only horror movies ever go beyond 3, and those are the rules. So those are the rules.
Same emotion after Revenge of the Sith. All right, take my heart, put it back in the thing, bury it in the ground. That's going to be it. That's definitely it.
It's crazy that it took us like 100 years to be like, just keep making more forever if people like them. Just like, don't stop. Like,
And I'm such a fan of sequels and that sort of stuff too, that like, I really wish there were 20 Star Wars movies, and I'm okay if 10 of them are really bad.
I'm the same way.
Another,
just keep making them. What are you stopping for? Yeah.
real good. Luckily, they're
luckily they're
He
worse.
did
He means the classic Transformers, not the Michael Bay formers.
Thank you.
We were going to conjure Video Drew eventually. We've been saying
Poof,
pieces
yes.
all night.
I knew it would happen.
Yeah,
She'll eventually pick up YouTube and go, oh, this is on.
Yeah.
All
Kelsey,
right,
anyway, unless there's any other StreamYards. What are the plugs, girl?
all right. Well, you can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me here on Call to Action every other week, usually on Call to Action Live, as well as popping up on Twitch Tuesdays and things here and there. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. Hopefully next week, maybe. I don't know. My schedule sucks. We'll figure it out.
What is the schedule right now? Oh my goodness.
Right.
Y'all know me. It's your girl, Danny Joy. You can find me on Twitter at Danny Joy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me here on the Call to Action Network every so often, as my schedule permits at this moment. These lovely people have been holding it down very, very much, and I'm very proud of this entire crew, especially for going viral on a bracket about Subway.
Hey.
But
He's working to bring exposure. That's exposure.
yeah, that's what they're doing a
We're
great job.
very
This is
exposed.
why I'd play Alex Damon. Everybody's going to watch me lose.
So big shout out to everyone that's been in the chat hanging out with us tonight. Thank you so much. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. Make sure that you sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-action.
That's what it translates to.
Yeah, that's what it is. Big shout out to everyone else hanging out. And thank you so much to Lon Harris and Adam Witt for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Good seeing you, Lon.
Yeah, this was fun. I looked the wrong way. There you
Yeah, I know. It's the opposite way you'd think.
go. There you go. Hi.
But I do this bit every time I'm on a show, so I'm starting to get used to it.
But Taco's over there, so he's like, what? What do you want? You've been talking for hours, and it's never to me.
Anyway, guys, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in as always. Make sure to tune in Twitch Tuesday to see more chaos. That's where you can catch me at. I would say my Twitter handle, but I think you all know where to find me now. So, anyway, guys, thank you very much. Make sure to go eat Subway.
Because you're infamous.
Yes.
Give your
Have
puppies a
everybody
belly
a
rub.
fresh weekend. Fresh 6-inch to foot long for $5 weekend. That's our show. Thank you.